Madison, it is so nice to welcome you here today in the studio.
Well,
Madison
thank you so much for
Tevlin.
having me. I'm so happy to be here today.
And you are a woman of many hats. You're an actress, you're an activist, you are a model, you're a speaker, and actually you just recently came back from the Clinton Global Summit where you were participating as well. So how was that experience?
That experience being there, meeting the Clintons, was super fun and an experience I'll never forget for sure.
I can imagine that part of the joy and the empowerment.
I just want to add, there's a lot of speakers and I learned so much from it.
Yeah, it's the people that are there. So the Clintons are a great draw, but I would think a lot of the other speakers and the participants are also super excited.
And I learned a lot from a lot of people there.
So you had been on quite a whirlwind. I saw you actually before I even thought about having you on my podcast. My husband and I watched Champions.
And tell me everything. What did you think?
Loved it. I mean, partially, I think what drew us to the movie initially is we have a special needs daughter. We have a daughter who's profoundly affected by autism. And I think that's kind of why the movie caught our attention right away. We're like, we never see people with autism. We never see people who are a little bit different on television. Mm-hmm. So it was like awesome. And then, of course, Woody,
it's like big draw. The best of the best. I feel like he really pushed me to be a better actor. And that I knew that I really wanted this rest of my journey.
So were you an actor before this movie, or was this your debut as an actor?
So I never would have thought that my one YouTube video on me by John Legend got me to where I am today. And it led me to making a movie, to having my own talk show, and now becoming a podcast of 21 questions. Like, that's a really big deal for me.
But it hasn't happened instantly either. Like, you have worked really hard. It was 10 years ago that you did the John Legend song, All of Me.
And just making that post and having it go viral made me realize that I can follow my dreams and make the world a better place.
So, Madison, just for a minute, if you can think back to being a little girl, you're 22 years old now, where did these dreams come from?
I really didn't know how everything was going to turn out. I never would have thought that I would be doing all these things I'm doing right now.
But did you love being on stage?
I loved performing. I loved just being myself. Because the more I be myself and believe in myself, I know that anything is possible.
Did your parents also help you with that, like that belief in yourself?
I really found myself through my parents because they made me who I am today. If it wasn't for them, I wouldn't be here.
And that's so true. The parents can be so important.
And the people and the connections I have with a lot of people in my life make me better.
Yes.
The things that teach me to be better.
Well, it sounds like you surround yourself with a lot of really good people.
And I'm all about the love and connecting with people. That's what I'm all about.
What is the most important way that you can show love to your friends?
Just being myself and putting myself out there. And that's what I think is the most important.
And putting yourself out there has been so powerful for you. It's been so powerful for so many people. And
I just want to make a difference in everyone's life right now. And the whole world is seeing different people for the way we look and not being judged. And that's when my show comes into play. So it's called Who Do You Think I Am? But now becoming a podcast of 21 questions. And it's all about bringing down stereotypes and barriers. And we're getting to the heart of people's stories and what they're all about. And that's what I express myself through that. Through my love, commitment, and getting the things done. And I'm very organized that way too.
I love what you said, Madison, about like being who you are and expressing who you are. And that almost being an act of love too, because you're paving the way for so many people to see people with differences in a way that's more accepting and more empowering.
I want to make a difference in this world, and that even if you have a disability or don't have a disability, it doesn't really matter. We're just being ourselves, and the more we be ourselves, the better we see in other people. And I always see the best in people.
I love what you say when you talk about having Down syndrome.
And the least interesting thing about me, because it's true. So many people underestimate me, and it's not right. We should we should all treat exactly the same no matter what we look like.
So do you think if somebody didn't know your story and they just know you have Down syndrome, they've already made up a story?
That's all they know. But if they don't really get the heart of me, and like what we're doing right now is talking and getting to know my story, they don't know what I'm all about. They might assume something behind my back that you don't see in front of you.
And I think we all fall prey to making assumptions about each other, but that's even more so when you have something visibly different about you, that you can see or you can understand, as you can put in that category. Oh, that's Down syndrome. That's autism.
Right.
That's
that
a
could
physical
be
disability. Yes. But like you said, that's only part. And you know what? You're right. It is the least interesting thing about you.
It really is. And I never would have thought that I would want to talk about my disability. But when I did, my talk show, that made me realize that I want to talk about it more. It's about breaking down stereotypes and not judging people for the way we look. So it made it easy for me to be able to speak about it. I realized my disabilities is a part of me, but it's not all of me. And that's why my talent has stuck with me till this day.
Absolutely. And I think what I'm hearing you saying, Madison, is that you don't want to be defined by your Down syndrome. You have so many other things that you want to bring to the world, your activism, your voice. You were on a billboard.
Voice matters.
Yeah. And you were on a billboard in time. How did that feel, by the way? You were on a billboard in Times Square. What was that moment like? Just
like watching myself up there, look at this role model that everybody's looking up to right now. And it feels so good that I'm one of those people that people are looking at to me, and that I'm making this change in the world to make everything better. And I'm really putting myself out there and showing that people can do what I think they really want to do.
And where did that come from for you, that belief that you could do
that I could change the world, that I could do things for so many other people? I feel like people see things in me that I never seen in myself before. And I can always say that I'm proud of myself, because I never would have thought I would say those words to myself, like I'm proud of myself, and be what other people see in me, what I should see in myself.
So it's almost as if people in your life saw your abilities and your talents, and then said, Madison, this is what I see, and then you started believing it.
Yes, and I just continue reflecting on myself, like, oh, maybe I could do this better, or do this better, and then do all the other things that everyone saw in me, and making it better for so many people. And I always say it's only so much fun proving people wrong.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it really is.
Yes. I come from a sport background, and I was part of the Olympic team in '84. That was my first Olympics, went to 4 Olympics. And at that time, women and rowing was still very much underestimated. That, when I first started, the women's race was 1,000 meters, because it was thought that it was too hard for women to race 2,000 meters. So I know what it's like to be underestimated. It's so easy now to look back and go, oh, yeah, of course women can race the same amount as men. But back then, people really believed it wasn't possible. And in a way, you're trying to open people's eyes
and minds
to the possibility
that anything is possible when you put your mind to it and feel good about yourself.
Absolutely. And on our show, I talk to athletes, I talk to actresses, and people talk a lot about confidence and how important having self-confidence is in actually achieving your goals. For me, I've had many times in my life where I actually wasn't confident, that I had to work really hard to believe in myself and to believe I could do what other people thought I could do. I wonder if that's true for you, if you ever have moments.
I did have moments like that too. Just because I have a disability doesn't stop me from doing what I love.
Yeah, I completely understand.
And I want to keep pushing those limits. Keep showing people that I could do everything like that you could do too.
So by showing people...
And can I add something to that too? So I also did a campaign called Assume That I Can, from the small agency in Cordown.
Yeah.
And it was all about ending those stereotypes.
Yeah. Assume that I can. Because if you believe that a
But
person can, they will.
exactly.
And that is just so incredibly important in any aspect of life, is that we treat people as if they can.
That we could do all the things that people don't think we can, but we actually can. And showing that campaign, I felt was so powerful that people are relating to it, connecting to the message. For anyone, people are reaching out to me through comments and how my posting and everything. Be like, wow, she could actually do that. I never thought she would. But now they're like, oh, maybe I was right.
Yeah. And so when people are reaching out to you, are there other people with disabilities, with Down syndrome, who have reached out to you?
A lot of people have reached out to me, not just people with Down syndrome, but other people that are really feeling off of it, like big artists, big people like Woody Harrelson, Matthew McConaughey, like all those different people.
You've got quite a Rolodex of friends there.
I have a lot of friends that reach out to me through Instagram, and like all different messages, my phone's blowing up. And it has felt so good that I am like someone that can help.
Yeah.
Like, do you know that word?
So many people.
Yeah.
Your impact
yes,
is
thank
huge.
you.
How do you stay grounded in all of that? Like,
but I always try to find
your phone is blowing up,
I find my calmness in myself, and when I listen to my music, it always heals me. It relaxes me, keeps me grounded, centered, relaxed, calm, and I just like feel myself through my music. And I always like dance and groove. It just makes me so perfect.
That keeps you being Madison.
It just keeps me being me. Yeah. It's my music.
Yeah.
And that's like what I need is my music, all the right people around me, connecting with people in my life, having my food and the drinks, everything all combined all together makes me better.
It takes people,
and what I'm passionate about.
It's interesting to hear that from somebody who's 22 years old. I'm way older than you, and it has taken me my whole life to understand how important nutrition, sleep, health and working out has always been a part of me, but we have to learn to regulate ourselves, and breath work and yoga and nutrition.
Meditation.
Are you a meditator?
I love, yes. Every night before I go to bed, I have like this app called Breathe, and it just like relaxes me. I just put like some like waterfall sounds, and it just like makes me like shut down my mind and then let all my worries just go away.
And does it kind of get rid of that spinning mind, that monkey mind?
It just relaxes me, and just makes my mind like it's not even there anymore.
Yeah.
It feels so good.
I know. I try to explain meditation. I've been practicing yoga for 20 years, and I do meditation and breath work as part of that. And I try to explain it to people, and I'm like, it's like, there's a space between your thoughts, and you're extending that space, and you realize you're so zen. And it's also, you kind of are hitting the essence of who you are, not just your brain spinning.
Yeah, it's like not your mind going everywhere, but when you feel it in you and you're letting everything out, it just feels so good.
And I would think, Madison, your star is very bright right now, and I think it's rising. I think you're going to do more and more wonderful things. And these strategies, building on these strategies, they're going to be so important. I started an organization 5 years ago called Unsinkable, and we focus on mental health, particularly amongst young people. And increasingly, there's a crisis in Canada and US around anxiety in young people. And I think the fact that you even talk about it, and you talk about the importance of self-regulation
and self-care. I feel like self-care is so important. Think about yourself first before you think about other people around you.
Which people have a hard time with that.
Yeah.
It feels selfish.
Yeah.
But it's not, right? Because if you are not looking after yourself, what are you giving to others?
How can you do that for other people?
Exactly, right? So how does Madison Tevlin look after herself?
Okay, so that's a lot.
Okay, how do you look after yourself?
Can you ask questions to get me into it?
Okay, so do you exercise?
Yes, I do. Okay. So every single day, I always go 15 minutes around my treadmill, rock out to my music, and it's like no one is around me. I have my own. I'm in my own little world. Yeah, I'm in my own little world on my treadmill with my music, and then I drink a lot of tea. I'm a big tea drinker, not a coffee drinker. I always drink tea. So morning and night I drink my
Nice.
teas. I work out
Every day
every day.
on the treadmill. We have to get you a
15
membership.
minutes.
We have to get you a membership to Good Life Fitness. They're a sponsor
I
of
love
ours.
that.
And
So
you can go to the gym, and you can also
I have a gym in my basement at home.
Yeah.
So I can just go right down, go 15 minutes,
It's
come
efficient.
back up. And then it just feels so good. Like, it's repetitive. You do it like every single day. I take all my vitamins every day. I drink a lot of water to keep me hydrated and looking my best. Every day I'm drinking lots of water.
Oh, we should have a sip of
I
water
know.
here. This is like our tall boy water. They're a sponsor too. So lots of water, lots of exercise.
Yeah.
What
I take a lot of my vitamins,
Mhm.
and then I do meditation.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's days I don't even wear makeup. There are days I wear makeup. And when I do that, I put like my face cream on first. And this like really relaxes me, like tap everything down. I take my makeup off. I do my water, and this relaxes me. The thing with me is that I need to whatever I do, I always need to have music on. Because music has been all part of my life since day one.
Madison, you look beautiful, and you have hardly any makeup on right now.
I know.
I think it's underrated being without makeup, because you
I just
really
love-
see your
I
skin
know.
shining and your eyes sparkling. I wondered, like, one of my self-care things, and I'm asking this question specifically because you're very much on the go. You're in the public eye a lot. Do you ever just need alone time?
Yes, that's my big thing. I need to, like, when I'm alone, I listen to my music. I like play my games on my phone and just relax, do nothing. I always throw Friends on because that's like my favorite show of all time is Friends.
I hear you're a big
And when-
Jennifer Aniston fan.
Yeah, I am.
Yes.
So whenever I watch Friends, like a show that you can just put on in the background, it always gives you a good laugh.
Yeah. Yeah. And you don't have to pay 100% attention.
To it. Like you can do other things, like grab my water or like anything I want to do. Just like have the show on and just like do everything I need to do for myself.
Being alone, having quiet time
is so important.
And I think a lot of people feel like it's being selfish. And what I'm hearing from you is that allows you to be this role model. It allows you to be this public person and, have a billboard and all that other stuff because you balance it.
I try to balance both very well. Sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's easy. But I always find that middle ground.
Yeah. Yeah. And your self-care, it's not only that it's a strategy you use once in a while. It sounds like you have a real, and this is a hallmark of athletes. They have a very stringent routine in terms of looking after themselves.
I'm very routine oriented. If people don't know me, I always say I'm organized, clean, and no one can ever take that crown away from me. And I just get the things that people are telling me to do. If I have to work, I have this set thing. And when it tells me what I have to do, more front loading for me, the better it is. And then I can look through everything, like, okay, I could do this, do that, put everything all together, and then it makes me better.
Yeah, I think that's true for most people, but it also preparation. Like you prepared for this interview today. I prepared for this interview today. And now we can be spontaneous.
And just go off the cuff and just be talking like two girls chatting. And that's what we're doing right now. And it feels so good. Just me and you talking and chatting about life and our experiences and what we go through and sharing stories with each other. And I'm a very big storyteller like you. I love expressing myself through my platforms, through my Instagram, that's the way I express myself. And the thing that I do are on there to show people that everything you see on camera is not what you really see in real life.
Yeah, that's so true. I started Unsinkable really with the idea that storytelling, sharing your own personal story can have the power to change another person's life. Because, I shared my story of growing up with a mom who had an undiagnosed mental illness and the instability that created in our family and how, it really affected my mental health and my own struggles with depression and anxiety. And I told it through my whole life story, right? Which is not only about mental illness. It's also about the Olympics. It's also about going through divorce. It's also about so many different things. But ultimately, when you tell your story, when I tell my story,
and it makes us feel so much better about ourselves.
Yes, because we're using our stories for good.
I know.
And did you know when you first started? First of all, you're John Legend singing all of you.
All of
All
me,
of me,
sorry.
sorry, all of you, all of me, all of me, thank you. But did you ever think that you would be inspiring other people?
I really did. It was only really meant for family and fantasy, but it got picked up and it went viral all over the world. People have been watching it. I get a lot of like news stations, open up for Special Olympics in LA.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, I was on a couple TV shows, and then I was on a big movie, had my own talk show, and lead me to so many more things. But now I proudly can say that I have my own show again, and it's back on track, called 21 Questions. It's a podcast, and I'm so excited to interview so many people like what you're doing right now. Like, people that are confirmed right now is Paris Hilton, Woody Harrelson, Nelly Furtado. And I'm so excited to interview those
21
people.
questions. So what are some of the questions? Like, are they set questions? Or are you just like going to fire off questions?
So basically, we'll have it in a jar.
Okay.
And you pick up one question. And it's more of like a conversation because we're both talking one-on-one together. So I say the question, they answer. The next person goes, picks up out of the jar, says the question, and we just like have a conversation about it. And the last question turns out to be chromosome 21. Because you know the game called 20 Questions?
Yeah.
So it's based off of that. And the last question is because everyone with Down syndrome has that extra chromosome. And I always say the number 21 to be exact. So the last question will be that 21 question.
That is really poetic and beautiful. So everybody with Down syndrome has a 21 chromosomes, and that's a difference.
Right.
So cool. Because in your last show that was on CBC Gem,
it was called Who Do You Think I Am?
Yeah.
And that was all breaking down stereotypes and barriers and look at the heart of people's stories and what they're made up of. And I'm shattering those stereotypes.
Yes, you are shattering so many stereotypes. You're paving, you know what you are?
I'm
You're a
paving the way.
trailblazer. You're literally paving the way for other people to do great things, which is so beautiful. You know, you're young. I'm asking you this question. I often ask it to guests who are like in their 40s or 50s. I'm asking it to you now, like what so far in your career and in your life are you the most proud of?
So there's so many things I'm so proud of, but if I had to pick one, it would be my talk show because it pushed me to try new things and understand the importance of advocating for my community and what I believe in, and for what I believe in. But the second one I would have to choose would be walking the New York Fashion Week because that was a dream come true.
Oh, I can't even imagine.
And just being in a room with so many people, like people that don't have legs or no arms, that people can't talk, and in sign language, like I actually learned that I could talk to someone with an interpreter, and I thought that was so interesting, and I never thought I could do that, and then I did it, and it proved myself wrong, and it felt so good.
When I first became part of my daughter's life who has autism, she was already 13. And I didn't really know very much about autism. And I think one of the greatest things that I learned was also about communication. And really it was that you don't need language to communicate. Keely, this is our daughter. I know right away what she's feeling. I mean, if you just take the time.
I know. And the energies, we're feeding off of people.
Yeah, we're feeding off other people's energy. And I feel like that's almost been like the biggest lesson that she's taught me is that, first of all, she seems in many ways so different than, you know, the average person.
I know.
But she is more like us. She's more like me than she is different. The differences are that she can't really speak, you know? The difference is you have Down syndrome. The difference is, you know, somebody has a physical disability, but we're all humans.
We're all humans, and we're all multi-layered. Different parts of us.
And I can really see that with you. I feel like we could talk for just
forever,
for so many hours because you have that depth at a young age. And one thing that listening to you is really striking me, you must be a very hard worker.
I am a really hard worker and I like getting things done. That is who I am. I'm very persistent and I like getting things done.
And did you learn that right from the beginning? Did somebody say that to you? You're going to have to work really hard?
Especially in this industry when you're acting and modeling and doing a host, it can take a very long time. When you're acting, you're on your feet for so long. And there's time that I'm exhausted. There's time that I'm tired. And I don't want to do anything at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, I know I'm doing the right for myself. And I'm pushing myself. and be like, okay, so I can help people do exactly the same thing I'm doing for myself right now.
So your drive keeps you working hard, but it's also your sense of purpose. That's
right.
also what
and
I'm
my
hearing.
purpose and what I'm like, what I want to do.
Yeah. And which is, what do you
Which is
most want to
bringing
do?
inclusivity and diversity to the whole world.
And it's already happening,
I
Madison.
just want people to be more inclusive and seeing that we're all the same and that everyone should treat us the way we should be treated.
Absolutely. Like human beings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not just like for
Respected.
who we are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And see beyond.
Well,
And go a little deeper with people, taking the time to get to know you as a person, to get to know somebody with Down syndrome as a person, or with autism, or with a physical difference.
We should just be all the same. And that's what I want people to take away from this podcast right now.
I'm hearing you. Yeah, and I that's a very powerful message. It's a very beautiful message. We are all the same, and we struggle with a lot of the same things. Of course, we all struggle with our confidence. We struggle to, continue to update our vision, to reinvent ourselves. What are you thinking about now? You've got this show on the go. Is that your big thing right now? Is your podcast?
It is.
The 21 questions?
I know, but also an important lesson that I've learned is to really see myself in a way that other people see in me. A lot of people see things that in me that I never really saw in myself before. But now I can say that I'm proud of myself and I really see what I'm made of. And the other lesson is to always live life to your fullest.
Spending time with the people we love, but also being present with them.
And being present in the moment and just taking as much time as possibly as I can. And I got to be part of the whole entire thing. I actually wanted to...
She wants to do it all. You want to do it all. You want to have it all. And you know what? You can. As somebody a lot older than you, I can tell you, you can have it all. You just can't have it all at once. Our life has all sorts of chapters. I think of my first chapter, right? Which my first public chapter was being an Olympic athlete. And then I was a mother. And then I was a business person and a speaker. Now I'm a podcaster. You have your whole life. But I love that you have that sense of urgency. It's something that I really noticed in a lot of our guests who are high achievers, who have done a lot, is that they do have a sense that life is short and you really got to go for it. You got to take risks. You're also a big risk taker.
What I'm doing.
Yeah, you're putting yourself out there in a billboard in Times Square. Like, that takes some confidence. That takes some.
And it just feels so good looking myself up out there, like that the whole world is watching me.
I can't even imagine. It just must have been a surreal moment for you. And your parents, were they just gobsmacked and so proud?
My parents are super proud of me.
So you were just talking earlier about your 21 questions, as this is your next big goal. Can you see beyond that yet?
I actually don't.
Okay.
I have to come up with more dreams and goals for sure.
Excuse me.
I have to come up with more dreams and goals because I don't... this is the big thing for me being a talk show. And now my dream is finally happening.
It's huge. And you're an in-the-moment person.
Yeah.
You're focused on what you're doing in that moment. And don't you find that when you fully do something to the best of your abilities, the other moment, the next thing kind of reveals itself?
And everything just comes out naturally. That's how I see things. That things come out naturally to me. And things can just happen. And okay, I'm going to go shoot for the stars and do the things that I want to do. But right now is being that talk show and making that better. Because if I could do that every day of my life, I would be so happy.
Well, you're a natural conversationalist. I think you'd be awesome doing a talk show. You can speak to anybody and about almost anything.
I can connect with people super easily.
I see that. You have such a warm, open-hearted energy, but you're also really smart and you're a good listener.
I try very hard. When it comes to listening, I try very hard.
It's often when we're listening, it can be easy to be formulating our response rather than listening.
Then you know the next answer to say to someone.
Yeah. But what I noticed about you in our time together today is actually you're very present to the question that you're answering and you're not, jumping ahead. That'll be a great quality to have with your talk show. Let me take you, and for a moment, if you could imagine being 13 again, can you just for a minute think about being a 13-year-old girl, a 13-year-old Madison? What advice would you give that 13-year-old girl?
Well, that's a really good question, so thank you for asking. I would say to myself to push myself and not to be scared to talk about my disability and to always to go after my dreams.
Because you don't mind talking about your disability, but you do not want to be defined by it because there is so much more to Madison
than what you really see on the surface.
Your mom's a big influence on your life, in your life. Can you talk to me about her for a minute?
I'd love to. So the first person that comes to my mind is my mom because she's always been my hype girl and cheerleader since day one. And for life, she knows what's the best for me, and she always knows the right things to say. She supports me and never stops believing in me.
When you say your mom's...
I just love her so much. And everything that I do is show her how I really am. And she's super proud of me, everything that I do.
She sounds like a beautiful person, and she has been your cheerleader all along.
My whole life. And if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here.
Literally.
I know.
But also, was she the person telling you that you can do this? And you mentioned earlier in our interview that other people have shown you what you are capable of. Was your mom one of those people?
She is one of those people that always supports me and always tells me the right thing. She always the one. She does everything with me. My mom does everything with me, even though I always talk about my mom more than my dad. And I see we talk about both of them. But my mom is just like the world to me. She's been my rock. She's been my everything. My mom. And actually right now I'm wearing her heart necklace.
Aw. So you have her on?
Always on me.
Oh, that is really beautiful. Well, she sounds like a strong woman who had...
And I have very fierce parents.
You have fierce parents, okay. And
they get through my hard and tough times.
Can you talk about one of those tough times?
When I had open heart surgery. I remember how old I was. 19. I was 19. I had open heart surgery. And that was the toughest time for me. That took me a lot of time and a lot of pain. Had my whole entire family around me.
You don't hear many 19-year-olds say that they had open heart surgery. Like, that's huge.
And this was when I was going through this, when I was starting Couldn't Think I Am, like my talk show. That's when I had a lot of time to work into it, all the details, did all my research, looking at all the people, come up with all the questions, everything I wanted, how I wanted the show to look like. I was still working really hard, even though I had my heart surgery. I was in one room by myself on this chair with like a lot of pillows behind me and everything, and was getting the work done.
So you're in your hospital bed working.
Basically. Yes.
And did that help you heal, do you think? I
think it really did.
Yeah.
It healed me for sure, and having my music, having the right people with me, made me feel even more better. And I remember my dad was the one that helped me get back on my feet again.
Because when you're injured, when you are recovering, and I've had my share of that, I think I mentioned to you earlier when we were talking before the show that I was hit by another boat in the 1992 year, right before the Olympic Games, 10 weeks before the Olympic Games. And the doctors told me that I would never row again. And 10 weeks later, I not only rowed, I won an Olympic bronze medal.
Wow, that's so good for you.
Yeah, it was pretty cool time. But I remember that time in the hospital, there were people around me who just weren't improving, who weren't getting better. But because I had a goal, because I had a vision. You want to get
that. Yeah. You had that vision and you want to go for it.
Exactly. And it had a timeline too. Like your show had a timeline. You were going to be shooting. And for me, the Olympics, they were 10 weeks away. I had to get out of that hospital bed. I had to get my arms, staying in shape while I was spending 3 weeks in the hospital.
And then you're watching all the movies, all your TV shows, healing, making the recovery more quicker and faster, so you can get the things you want to get done.
Because I think one of the things that many people underestimate is the amount of work it does take to achieve the kind of things you're achieving. They may see that you're a beautiful young woman, you've got a supportive family. You're also an incredibly hard worker. You're very disciplined. And these are almost like ingredients to success.
I'm all about changing the world and making it a better place. I want to see more inclusivity and the world to show inclusivity and more diversity, and being part of that change is what success means to me.
Okay, so when you saw your billboard, when you're having this show, when you hear people...
Things are finally happening for me. My dreams are finally happening. I'm getting the things done.
And it's not just for you. That's what I'm hearing. It's because you want to make the world bigger for other people. You want to open the doors around disability and let people see that anything is possible if, like you said, you believe in yourself, but also if people give you a chance.
And get the chance and opportunities to get the stuff done.
Exactly. If I'm looking at you and I'm thinking of all the things you can't do.
And things you cannot do or things you can do.
Absolutely. And that's my husband, who has had rheumatoid arthritis since he was 32, says, don't let the things you can't do stop you from doing the things you can. And he lives his whole life like that. He's been on crutches for the last 10 months because he shattered his femur.
Wow.
Yeah. He shattered his femur skiing. And people say, well, you'll never ski again, I guess, eh? And he's like, yeah, I'm going to ski again. I love it. Why would I give it up?
Limitations.
It's just limitations. It's just something you have to work around.
And work past it.
Exactly. You have physical, he's got some physical issues. He has to, take 20, 30 minutes just to warm up before he does a workout. You talked a little bit about that too, doing your workout, how that keeps you limber.
And motivated and get down there and go on that treadmill.
Yeah.
Take that time for yourself, that 15 minutes out of your day to do something you feel good about.
And I think a lot of young people have to hear that, Madison, too, because they're on social media a lot. And everybody's life on social media, you talked about that earlier. It looks perfect.
But it actually isn't in real life.
Yeah, and you're putting in the work to create that mental space for yourself, that mental environment by working out, by eating well, by taking care of yourself, by setting goals. That's a lot.
I know.
But all of those things make you who you are, and it makes you be effective each and every day.
I totally agree with you. So thank you for having me.
Oh, it's so nice talking to you. You are not only an inspiring woman, you're very empowered, and your enthusiasm, your talent, your energy is really contagious. It's been just beautiful to spend some time with you.
Well, thanks so much for having me. I was so happy to talk with you today.
Thanks for tuning into Inflection Time. I hope our conversation inspired you to think about inflection points in your own life. If you enjoyed our chat, be sure to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It really helps. Remember, every challenge is an opportunity to grow, so keep embracing those turning points. Until next time, I'm Silken Laumann, and this is Inflection Time. I'd like to thank my sponsor, Good Life Fitness, and Tall Boy Water. A big thank you to our incredible guests for sharing their stories with us. I'd also like to thank our fabulous production team, our executive producer, Michelle Archer, our producer, Phil Kluba, and our communications director, Christine Bays. Inflection Time was created by Archer Co. Acronym and me. As an Olympic athlete, it's not surprising I love working out, and I love going to the gym. Strength training is so important for bone health, for metabolism, and our partner is Good Life Fitness. They are offering a 7-day pass to all of our listeners. Visit our description to access your 7-day pass.